Back at it. Another day of grind, weld, paint, repeat. This is by far the most complicated thing we've done so far. Kind of like DIY container that we're making. Go to plug the welder in, and the welder popped / exploded. Get after it. A few years ago, we decided to quit the rat race and venture down a completely unfamiliar path in life. We sold almost all of our possessions, renovated a camper van, and toured the US looking for a piece of land to start our journey. After almost 2 years, we found our piece of paradise in the Pacific Northwest, and Pacific Pines Ranch was born. Follow along as we chase our dreams to build an off-grid shipping container home and to see our projects and adventures along the way. As we like to say on the ranch, the joy is in the journey. Hello, hello. Back at it. Another day of grind, weld, paint, repeat on Pacific Pines Ranch. So today we are back up on the second level, working on our little side structure right here. So we are going to be working on the C-channels that go perpendicular to these pieces of steel tubing that we got there. So my aunt has the first piece cut up there and we're cleaning it. I'm gonna weld it in place. And then we need to go grab a bunch of other scrap steel that we have and situate it, cut it, weld it in place. So I'm almost ready to go. Just gonna go put on the rest of my stuff and get after it. Viant did a great job cutting the C-channels with an angle grinder, but I would highly recommend using a plasma cutter or a bandsaw. Way easier.
Done? Yes. Break. You break.
Alright, so we got all of the C-channels that we need to weld in between the vertical tubing. Right here, cut, painted, ready to go. So these are the ones that we'll be placing in between the tubes. So that one over there, we already did the other day. So now we're going to be working on these 5. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Yeah. Oh. So gonna weld all of those to the tubes and to the beam where we can. Get them to the right height and go from there, I guess. These C-channels serve a few different functions. They connect the vertical tubing together, they will hold the concrete in place for the pan deck flooring, and the corrugated panels that will close the entrance structure will sit on top of them. Everything will start to make sense as we get farther in the build, I promise. I know it's hard to imagine at this point in the game. On this end of the house, we are going to have a huge picture window right next to the container doors that we converted. It's going to be so beautiful, and I can't wait to share that with you guys. All right, just finished welding all of the C-channels in place. So I think we're gonna call it a day. I'm tired. It's not necessarily like a lot of welding, but to have to like move the ladder up and down, make everything level, do a bunch of measurements, be really precise and all that, it makes for a long day. So anyways, let me show you what we got. So you can see all the C-channels connected. Now Vian's... Don't take our reference for safety because we're just like doing what we can over here. It's really sketchy sometimes. But anyways, all the C-channels are welded in, and wow, that really fortifies these vertical tubing. Now they don't really move at all, and before they were a little wobbly. So anyways, Vian's just covering the top up there in case it rains or, you know, we have any intense mist or stuff like that to make sure no water gets in the tube. And tomorrow we are going to work on closing the balcony that will be in the front of the house. So we're going to be closing this balcony up there with those I-beams. So basically the same things except some I-beams instead of where the C-channels are. So gonna call it a night, get some good rest, and get back at it tomorrow. Alrighty, ready to go on another day of Grand Weld Paint Repeat. So let me just explain a little bit what's going on, why we're doing what we're doing, how we're doing what we're doing, and yeah, just a little bit about this general structure that we're building on the side. Will make more sense when I explain it. So anyways, so let me go over here. All right. So right here we will have a floating slab going across all the top of of the I-beams right here. Right here will be a balcony for this room. For all of these poles, these vertical tubing right here will be welded together with the leftover panels. As you can see here, here's all of our leftover panels from the build. So we are going to use those to close this area on this level and on that level. Right where between these two I-beams right here will be the entrance. Eventually this will be lowered because the entrance of the garage will be right there. So as you can see, we used these C-channels as sort of the base of this kind of like DIY container that we're making, and to hold the concrete. So the slab will be poured inside of there. So as well as on the side of the vertically, we will be using the panels. Underneath, we're going to be using the panels as well to do a pan decking to hold the, it'll be basically like a floating slab. So the panels will sit on top of the I-beams. Everything will be welded together. Concrete will go on top of the panels and be held in by the C-channel around the side. Then we will finish the walls, and yeah, move on to the next step. So right here we're gonna have some stairs, so we need to put 2 more C-channels to block the concrete from flowing into this opening that will be pretty much right here, from about here to here to here to here. So we have a ton of leftover steel from everything that we've done so far. So what we're gonna do is we are going to take all of the leftover pieces of C-channel, weld them together to create this border, and yeah, then place them and probably move on to putting the paneling on the floor. So yeah, that's a little bit about the area, kind of what we're doing, how we're doing it, and yeah, I'm sure I'll explain more as we go along, but yeah, that's kind of what we're doing today, and yeah, step by step. So this will be the stairway to go down into the garage. So as you can see, it's off-centered They're a little bit like not perpendicular to the container, which makes it really complicated to do all these little angles. So the challenging part about this structure is that this wall is not parallel with the rest of the house. So it's sort of set at an angle, which means we have a lot of angles to figure out, and it complicates a lot of aspects of the build. All of these angles and measurements, this is by far the most complicated thing we've done so far in the house, this side, the DIY container and the side structure. A lot of calculation, a lot of measuring, and yeah, I don't really like math, so it's not easy. All right, on to the next. Yo, yo, yo! So we already started today. I saved you guys the boring stuff and we did all the cleaning. We cleaned all the steel, got that out of the way. Nothing new there. Just cleaned where we have to weld. So today we are working on setting up the barrier for this balcony right here. As you guys know, we'll be pouring a pan floor right here. So it'll be a floating slab basically. And we need to have this part of the slab sloped to remove the water when it rains in winter, which everyone who's ever been to the Pacific Northwest knows that there's a lot of water here in winter and we need it to come off of the balcony. So anyways, right now we are building sort of like a metal form to hold the concrete in place, and on the slab will be sloped like that, so the side will be lower than that side where the door will be. So we are installing some angle iron, and then after that we're going to put a flat bar vertical against the angle iron. Weld everything together, maybe clean and paint if we have time, if it doesn't get too foggy, because right now it's pretty foggy and sometimes that does not a very good effect for the paint. So I'm gonna get up there, get my stuff on to weld and weld this flat bar in place, and the angle iron. Weld the angle iron in place and then hopefully clean that off, weld the flat bar, and that'll probably be it for today. So let's go. Grind, weld, paint, repeat. Grind, weld, paint, repeat. Grind, weld, paint, repeat. So here we are in what will be eventually one day the balcony to this room. This little terrace. So, gonna weld a piece there where this I-beam is cleaned off. Then I'm gonna weld this angle iron here, here, and behind Viant over there. So that will sit along there. You can see we have a little bit of it cut out right here, so the angle iron will sit there, flat bar will sit on top, holding the concrete when we pour it, and same here but opposite, so the flat bar will be on the outside, the angle iron will be on the inside. Yeah. So here we go. Alright guys, back at it again.
What?
So yesterday was a little difficult. We were supposed to finish and we didn't because of the weather. We're always battling the weather, even in summer. It's very frustrating. It was like, it didn't rain, but it was basically like 100% humidity. And it was just like, basically we were in a cloud. So I couldn't weld.
Thank you.
I couldn't weld or do anything like that because it was just too wet. It wasn't raining, but it was just way too humid. So looks like it's gonna be a better day today. So we're gonna try to get what we should have finished yesterday done today, and yeah, cross your fingers for the weather. Please give us a break. Alright, so we're gonna get everything together and get going. So, go to plug the welder in, and the welder popped / exploded. I mean, it didn't really explode, but something broke inside the internal mechanism and it doesn't work. extremely frustrating. Just the environment that we live in is so hard to do anything that's mechanical or electrical or anything like that. It's crazy. I mean, I left the welder inside, covered inside, because clearly it's a nightmare. This thing is like 70 pounds. It's a nightmare to bring it up and down the ladder each time that we use it. So yesterday I left it all the way over there, covered, but it was extremely humid last night. And yeah, now it doesn't work. As you can see, if I turn it on, nothing happens. Thankfully, we have an extra welder for when this happens, so we are going to get that set up and go to return this one later and get it exchanged. So it's just really frustrating. It's really tough when stuff like that happens and you're like in the middle of doing stuff. It's very annoying. So anyways, we're gonna pull the wire out of it and go to exchange it later, but hopefully we can finish what we're trying to friggin' do today, because yesterday we couldn't finish because of the fog, and now we're having trouble with welders. So it's just like, sometimes it seems like everything is against us. Anyways, gonna bring out our other welder, see how it goes. So that was completely my fault. The humidity is next level here, and we learned through experience that we have to store all of our electronic or important equipment inside or in an enclosed space. You can see as I'm welding the fog rolling through, and sometimes it's even more intense than that. It's extremely beautiful, but really hard on our tools and equipment.
Good job, babe.
Somehow, some way, we pushed through our setbacks and challenges, and we made it another step forward. As I mentioned before, everything will start to make sense as we progress in building the entrance structure. I know right now it's kind of hard to imagine what's going on, but hang in there. I promise it will be really cool and worth the wait. Especially once we get to building the rooftop deck. We have some very epic and scary and exciting things coming soon, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of it. Here's what's coming next on Pacific Pines Ranch. All right, new day, working on the pan floor. Help support our channel by leaving a comment, liking, and sharing this video. As always, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up with our projects and adventures on the ranch. We put out new videos every Saturday and even sometimes during the week, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any. Okay, bye.